Interesting reading this time around, family, because ultimately when the codependency comes up, I'm like, okay, so who is doing what that needs to change? Because obviously this behaviors, this patterns, things that need to definitely evolve in order for things to be able to prosper. And that can be very hard, especially when it comes to things that, if it's a taught mechanism, it's things that, you've grown up and you've learned to do. There's certain, things that you resort to that need to be changed and adjusted. And it's interesting that the hermit comes up because this talks about self-reflection. It talks about looking within. It's a soul searching kind of card. It's very spiritual and it's very healing because you go within to find your own power, to find your strengths, to overcome the sadness and the wounds and the pains that you expressed. Acknowledge those weaknesses to make them your strengths. And with the Knight of Cups underneath that, I have a feeling this has to do with what you want, what you've been desiring, what you've been feeling. This may have to do with someone that's offered you love here as well. This could also, be in regards to an ex. Maybe, your first instinct is to get back with an ex, and now there's like, well, I need to really think of things a little through. It could be that, but it doesn't have to be, right? Because there's a lot of reflection that's coming up in this reading. And when it comes to codependency and stuff like that, I kind of get this feeling that there's this change and it's acknowledged what's being changed, and it's definitely difficult because it's changing old customs, old ways of behaving, old, patterns and routines. It's not easy. So the headspaces we're going into both relationships with is, well, typically I read the side as you guys anyway, Cancer, but you feel free to go ahead on this side if this resonates with you more. But with Justice coming up as the headspace here for you guys or the other person, depending however you read this, this person is seeing that either there's a need for things to be realigned or there's some things that are out of balance. Usually that's the card what comes up when there's imbalance here. Things that need to be made amends. Somebody may be looking for an apology or looking to apologize or looking to, balance some situation out. Or somebody may be doing too much and need to give of themselves, right? Give of themselves, or just be, right? Stop doing so much. But Justice talks about an imbalance, and this person may not be seeing the situation as very balanced at this moment and looking to make amends, looking to, end some sort of, impending karma. Now, at the same time, this could be like a marriage. This person may be seeing this as the potential for marriage, or this person sees this as a unity. This person sees this connection as a united front, because Justice and the Hierophant together, to me, indicates that there is a marriage, there is a connection here that can indicate that there is, a strong bond, either, legally or emotionally. Right. At the same time, it can indicate divorce, but I don't think it's the case. I don't see any divorce here. And even though we see the Hermit coming up as the underlying energy, and it does indicate going solo, doing something alone, I don't really get a whole lot of divorce energy here, but it could very well come up in this. You could be dealing with divorce. It could be dealing with, changes in routine and behavior because you're so used to being in a unit, in a uniform, or a union with someone. Now, the other person is taking this relationship very slowly. They're looking at this relationship with their mentality very slow. They're not moving in super fast. They're not really eager to move forward. They are taking their time and really looking at the details. They may be really trying to savor every moment. Now, the Knight of Pentacles could also be very procrastinating. Could be procrastinating, but I don't think that's the case because of everything else that I see here. I think they're really working hard and really putting in the time and really doing their diligence with this relationship, but they understand that that's going to take time, precision, and quality versus time spent doing all the work. I think this person's understanding or looking at what needs to be done versus what needs to be done in a certain time fashion, if that makes sense. So this person is very, very slow with this, moving very slowly. Now, why they're moving very slowly is because they're trying to see a future with this individual, trying to see what lifestyle that can be had with you or the other person, or you or the other person could be seeing this for for you, right? But hopefully I'm making sense. Like, either you're doing this to the other person or the other person's doing it to you. Just want to be 100% clear. But there's also somebody that's also making plans for the future. They're trying to, figure out what needs to be done, figure out what, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and to compensate for those. I kind of get this feeling, though, that this person is really working to expand their life, and how they're doing it is by really being practical about it, right? Getting information, whatever you're giving them, and seeing what can obviously be grown from that. Now, on your side, though, or the other person's side, depending on however you read this, is the Seven of Pentacles, and that to me is like, this person definitely put in a lot of work in this relationship. They've put in a lot of work in, period. And I don't think that they are realizing, or they see themselves as being fairly compensated for it. Now, there is a lot of work that still needs to be done in order to get to the peak that they want to get to. But I feel like because they see this relationship as such an unbalanced situation, they may be looking at this as a lot of work that's already been done, but they're still not where they want to be. And they're still waiting on the progress to be made, right? They're still waiting for the other person to, throw in their chips. And I feel like this person's still making plans, still trying to figure things out. They're not really making a step forward in the sense of like actively moving ahead, because they want victory. They want to be happy. They want to do this right. They want to feel like they're doing this right, but they also want to do this in their own time, and that makes sense. They're kind of, I think the addiction that's coming up here has a lot to do with control. That they want to feel and be in control of the process and the movement and the growth of this relationship. Because with the Chariot there, it's about victory, it's about success, it's about momentum and moving fast. But I don't know if this person's really, I think this person's worried about it going too fast and out of their control. They were keeping this steady kind of balance here, and they're moving forward when, with their willpower in the pace that they feel comfortable with. However, on your end, or the other person's end, they have the Seven of Swords. The reason why they see this as imbalanced and as a lot of work, and still looking at things that they need to do to overcome all of the hurdles, or to to continue to improve their well-being of their relationship, whatever. You have the Seven of Swords there. It's because of this. It almost feels like this person sees this as a huge risk on their part, that they're putting way more into it than the other person is. Therefore, they're out to get, they can be put out to dry a lot quicker, a lot faster, because they're putting everything on the line. It's almost like this person isn't compromising in a way, but I feel like this person is acting as if they're compromising, but they're having everything under control. They're not moving faster than they want to. They're not going anywhere that they don't want to. They're very much in control of the situation. And I feel like this person's got so much to lose. They feel like they have got so much to lose. And that's why they feel this relationship is imbalanced, because as much as they've been putting in, they're still not getting what they want. It's weird, right? Because it's interesting that the challenge is the Lovers. Because the Lovers is the connection, the profound connection. The challenge is building either a balance, a flow, or most importantly, just allowing themselves to just be in the relationship instead of kind of controlling everything. It's like a very controlled aspect of this relationship. And the Hierophant, yes, there's structure, there's stability, there's reliability here with the Hierophant there. I really trust the Hierophant. And the Hierophant does talk about, like I said, like being in a very stable place, because you have routines, you have rules, you have policies, right? This person may be in the same culture and everything, but the Lovers is the challenge. The challenge has to do with how you guys connect with one another. The challenge is how you guys work with each other's dynamics. And facing the actual facts, facing what you feel, and being honest with how you feel. Some of you guys may not be honestly interested in this relationship anymore. Or maybe you guys truly want this to work out, but you need to feel like you have some sort of say or some sort of power in this relationship, because right now, all the keys are gone to the other person. And you love to help and you love to be available to this person, but what have they given back to you so far? And I don't want to say that they've been hoarding, but they've been really, really concentrated. They've been really focusing on what they are wanting to do and what they're willing to do, and not really compromise that much. I don't think this person's using you, but I do think this person is definitely not looking to give up any of the control because they don't feel like they need to, if that makes sense. Very interesting. You have 2 cards that come up here. You have the Thinker and Flexible. Now, those 2 cards already coming up is a very interesting thing. Because I think, with the Thinker coming up, it does indicate that there is a need to take a moment, take a step back to really reflect, to really look, and to really think before taking any further action. It's like yin, but you're taking all the information that you've gathered and really making a solid decision about whether or not this is something that you're interested in pursuing, if there's more work that needs to be done, if you're willing to do it. But this is also flexible because this is it's a prime time to really adjust and to change things up, change the dynamics or whatever. Because flexible talks about being bendable, being moldable, going with the wind, right? Bending with the change, adjusting to changes, adjusting to, harsher environments, right? And I feel like with Thinker, I feel like with the combinations you got here, period, it's like there is this need to kind of be very flexible at this moment and not to be so rigid and under control. And if this person is trying to control everything, then you have to kind of figure out why, right? Their actions are going to show you exactly why they've been like this, or why they're being so controlling, or why they're not allowing there to be a lot of adjustment, or why you haven't even, if you have, then this doesn't apply to you, but if you haven't extended and asked for some sort of, a compromise, then there can't be, because I think this person is open to it. At the same time, the Chariot, I feel like, takes the helm of the Chariot because he's the only person riding in that Chariot. He's the only person that's taking charge. There also may be this kind of thing with roles, the gender roles or roles in a relationship. Someone that may be assuming a certain role because someone else hasn't stepped up to it. Right? There's a lot of things that are different in this reading, and it all may not have to apply to you, but, at the same time, it's like the Hierophant being there tells me the big story that there is some sort of way of doing things, there's some sort of structure that brought you two together. But the thing that's not working together right now is the fact that you're accepting each other for who you are and not necessarily what y'all can bring to the table. Just being in love and loving each other and just being that. Because ultimately, you guys are looking at what work needs to be done. The work that needs to be done, or what progress needs to be made in order to develop this relationship, when there really isn't any need to continuously be so focused on developing the relationship, when all you have to do is just be yourself. It's a very interesting reading this time around, Cancer. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing all the videos, guys. You don't know how much I appreciate all the love and support that you guys have been giving me recently. And I also want to take time out now to thank all the clients that have come to me as their source of intuitive wisdom with the $10 question sale on Instant Go. If you want to have your own readings done, all you have to do is go into the description box and click the link in the description box that will lead you straight to my Instant Go page. And if you guys want a traditional reading, my information is in the description box, as well as clicking the eye in the corner. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Wow. I feel like one piece, though, I kind of feel like I'm leaving this a little bit empty, but I feel like what I'm feeling I need to say is this. Everything that you need to know about this relationship all rests within the other person. Not saying that you have to rely on the other person per se, but the information that you need to gain is how and why this individual works, the way they work, do the things that they do. And flexible is being open and ready to change, not for the change of someone else, but to change yourself. Because if you don't like how something is going, you have every power to change it. If you're not liking how things are going, you can change it. And it looks like there's some things that just need to change on your part so you can feel like you're in a cohesive and balanced relationship. Because right now, it don't look like you're feeling very balanced, even though this person's seeing this as like, I don't think they realize that, I don't think they think this is very balanced either, you know? But take a second to really think about what you want and then go for it. Because if you don't feel like there's any balance, but you don't know what's in balance to you really, then you're kind of, it can cause a lot of problems. So really sit down and think about what it is that you want. Don't give any more to the relationship until you know exactly what you want. Right? And then once you know, make the strategies, make the plans to go ahead and move forward with equal vigilance. Not just from you, but from the other person. If you can't get that, then that's when it's most important to be flexible.